Welcome to the Financial Freedom Podcast with your host, Lorna Poole, sharing the secrets to creating wealth, investing, and that all-important money mindset. To find out more and accelerate your journey to financial freedom, head on over to www.lornapoole.com to get started. Welcome everybody. Welcome to Financial Freedom Podcast. Would you love to know how to be financially independent? Well, my guest expert today is talking to women, giving them tips on how to be financially independent. Huang left China at the age of 20 to cross the ocean with nothing more than $800 and her hope of achieving the American dream. Her courage and dedication fueled her journey through the business world, and over 20 years gained experience working in financial planning firms of all sizes before venturing off to do her own. Today, she's the founder and president of Echo Wealth Management, with multiple designations such as Certified Public Accountant License and Chartered Financial Analysis. Echo helps the country's top executives and entrepreneurs take the complexity out of their finances, giving them the confidence to follow their dreams and achieve their goals. Echo, great to have you here.
Hi, I'm thrilled to be here, Lorna.
Financial independence for women, I think personally this is huge.
Yeah, exactly. So I would love to share my story here because I believe that many women may not have prepared for their financial future. So I definitely want to talk about some tips that I have learned over the years and, on my own personal financial planning. And now as a wealth expert to advise many driven and successful professionals to work on their personal finance to help them achieve their dreams and goals. So Lorna, I was thinking perhaps give your audience a little bit overview of what I think is really important for people when they want to achieve financial independence. And I think the first thing need to do is create a financial plan, regardless if they have money right now, regardless how much money they have right now. So for people who don't have a lot of money at this moment, even a simple budgeting tool they can start working on and have a monthly budget towards savings for an emergency fund could be very helpful. I think during the pandemic, of course, we all know many people have suffered probably for a long time because they don't have the emergency fund that has to, last for at least 6 months to a year to pay for the essential expenses. And then for people who have some savings and invested in the stock market, they need a plan to deal with the market uncertainties. And as we have seen, market crash happened, and this spring it was very severe. And how do people, recover from this kind of market losses and still have the confidence to move on and build their portfolio back up in order to achieve their retirement goals? So Lorna, any specific questions you have in your mind about particular investing and questions?
Yes, I've loads. So first I'm going to ask you the emergency fund. How much I know you said 6 months to 1 year. I know it depends on what the person earns. So you suggest, because I know some experts say, put 1,000 away and then have a safety net. So you're saying put your emergency fund is 6 to 1 year's worth of your income. Is that right?
Not of the income, actually, is of the monthly essential expenses. Let me give you an example.
To cover the expenses, yeah.
Exactly. And of course, every individual is different, right? The spending is different. So I think for somebody, let's say they their monthly household expenses include the major things they cannot skip, obviously, like a home, right? The housing cost, and in the US, health insurance is a big cost, and food, and the basic clothing, transportation are essential. So in my mind is the essential expenses are relatively fixed and you cannot cut. They are not the discretionary vacation expenses, okay? So for the essential expenses, if you add together, for example, if it's $3,000 a month, you have to survive, times 6 would be 18,000. Okay. So for people, especially if they are the only income earner, I would say minimum you need to have that 18,000, right? If people two incomes and they can kind of support each other relatively well and their job is relatively stable, they could go a little bit lower. But then for people who have jobs that are not as stable in terms of income, I would go longer than 6 months. So in general, I would suggest people to have at least 6 months to pay their own essential monthly expenses so that they have the time to recover in case of emergency that they couldn't plan for. And put that in something that's really safe. I think in the US, we say FDIC insured, meaning that, with the banks, that's either checking or savings, you will not lose value. So for emergency funds, you don't invest in stock market. That's really important for people to understand. That's why it's called emergency fund, because investing in stock market, it could go down 30% or 50% when you actually need the money. That's not going to help you to deal with the emergency.
And is banks in the States like the banks over here, they don't make any interest?
Well, they do, but the interest rates are extremely low at this moment. So in the U.S., what I suggest a lot of people do is the checking account, you normally earn almost nothing. So in that case, I would have them have about like 1 month's expenses there, 1 to 2 months in checking account, but then link that to a savings account. And savings account in the U.S., if it's online savings account, they pay a little bit more interest, anywhere between 0.5% to 1% a year. That's the interest for, what we see right now here in savings account. But if people have a little bit more money to put away, they also can do the short-term CDs as well. So there are some online short-term CDs, 6 months or something. But I think most important piece is the savings account that the value doesn't go down. Even though the interest is small, that's not the most important function of an emergency fund. Emergency fund's purpose is not to lose money when you need to use it. It's not trying to grow at 6% or 7%. And that is the investment portfolio, as I always tell people, is combination of stocks and bonds and real estate. Now, those investments offer you much greater return than savings and CDs. And those are for intermediate term and long-term time horizon, for people. So don't put money in the stock market if you need to spend that money within 5 years. And for bonds, there are different type of bonds and maturity date. That's why a financial advisor can help the individual to decide, what kind of risk is appropriate and how to invest for the long term. So investing in the long term is definitely very different than, emergency fund.
And tell me this, you said at the beginning, even if you've no money right now, start a financial plan. What do you mean by that? Or somebody that's like, I don't have any money to do a financial plan. What do you say to them?
Yeah, that's why for me, I would say this. Even though you don't have a lot of money, you still need to decide your short-term goals and long-term goals. So, for example, you have a job. That means you are able to budget and save money for first emergency fund. Then you need to have a saving plan. When I say saving plan is you just need to come up with the money and put it away and pay yourself first for example, in the retirement account that you can set up with your employer, your company, or somewhere in the US is individual retirement account. They can set up with investment companies. So even though it's small, for some people, maybe started out with $100 a month. after they figure out the essential spending and stick with the monthly budget and put away the money for the future. Another financial plan, when I advise people, if they don't have a lot of money, I still want them to pay attention to several areas of financial planning. One is cash flow planning. When I mentioned about emergency fund, that's number one, right? Because you have to figure out where to get the money to pay bills in case you lose your job or change your job. So cash flow planning can happen on what I would suggest is minimum plan out in the next 5 years, what kind of income you can expect to earn and what kind of expenses, what I mentioned about setting a budget. If you are able to see where the money is coming from and paying the bills, that's really important to have a clarity, because when you invest that money for the long term, you don't panic when stock market crash because you don't need to sell the stocks to pay bills. So for the 5-year planning, it's really important to know where the money is coming from. Another thing is insurance review. A lot of people are not paying attention to risk management using the right type of insurance. For example, life insurance has to be adequate for the major income earning in case that person dies, right? The entire family needs to be protected to using proper life insurance and long-term disability insurance to ensure that person gets paid if that person cannot perform his current job. And so it's property, obviously. And then in the U.S., I think in Ireland is probably similar. For people, they need to do estate planning. So especially during pandemic, so the financial plan I tell people to do is not just saving for retirement and investing properly. You also need to make sure you have proper legal documents to deal with the unexpected situations, such as what happened you are in the hospital for 2 months and cannot express your wishes and you cannot pay your bills. So you must have legal documents in place to appoint somebody, financial power of attorney. You need to appoint somebody to take over your financial affair and pay the bills and keep your house in place when you are actually in the hospital. And the healthcare directives in the U.S., I think in Ireland, probably something similar, maybe different names, right? Yeah. It's like you need to name a healthcare agent who has to decide life and death decisions for you and how you want to receive healthcare. So I think during pandemic, it's important for people to either review what they have currently and make adjustments, or if they don't have anything in place like a will or trust, now is the perfect time to do that. So that's why I'm thinking about when we say financial planning, it's not just for the wealthy. It's because we all have to start from somewhere. You are not going to be a millionaire suddenly one day without proper planning and taking action. So I just want to spread the message of start financial planning now, regardless where you stand in terms of financial status. Because for myself, over the years, I have learned to work on my own financial plan by focusing on much like increasing saving for my retirement. Every time I got a raise, I increased my savings to my retirement plan. And over 25 years, that is pretty significant if you're able to do it consistently, even start with $100 a month. And of course, investing wisely by diversifying your investment globally. And we definitely have very great stock market globally in terms of if you compare to the return in CDs or savings. For long-term retirement plan, anything that's 10 years or longer, you don't need to touch that money. A stock market is still the right place to be for people to invest for the long term.
Yeah, and you said something else in the beginning as well that was really interesting, and I love what you're sharing here, and I want to go back to insurance a little bit as well, is you were saying as well about the market uncertainty, which is definitely what we experienced this year with COVID. You were saying about how do we have the confidence to move forward after a loss?
Yes.
So you're talking about there, you said something about the cash flow, and then you were saying about diversity. Are they the two things that help you go through the ups and downs of investing?
Yes, exactly. I want to give you a specific example.
Yeah.
Let's think about investors. Many individual investors, when they do it themselves, they make emotional mistakes because we are all human. We may make emotional mistakes during market crash. Very likely scenario is individual investors invest something. They may have taken more risk than they're willing to tolerate. And they saw a market crash, they saw the portfolio lost 40%, and they panic and they say, well, I don't want to lose more. I feel a lot more comfortable. Just sell and park it in savings and wait until I feel better about the market. And then I go back in. Well, if you look at this year as an example, U.S. large companies, S&P 500 index went down, losing more than 34%, and then dramatically recovered, and it was so quick recovery. And for people who was trying to time the market and thinking that they either are too fearful or they are overly confident, those are the two emotions I think a lot of investors have when during market crash. If they're too confident, they are saying, I'm not going to be in the market right now. I'm going to wait it out. Someday it feels better. I go back in. Maybe, they think they can time it better. But this year, the stock market performed very surprisingly. It went down so fast, it recovered so fast. Of course, right now we're seeing today major market, crash today in the US. But so my point is, if people have planned their cash flow better, they are more likely to deal with their emotion better. So how to overcome their, emotions and stay disciplined and stay invested. So one thing I want to make sure people understand is even professionals make mistakes if they're overly confident in terms of trying to time the market. And in reality, the recent data shows time in the market is more important than timing of the market. So let me prove that point. The recent data by JP Morgan, Sky to Retirement presentation, using the data between January 3rd, 2000 and August 9th, 2020. So that's over 20 years of data. The best, if you fully invest in the S&P 500 index, U.S. large companies, between that period, the annualized return is 6.12%. That's not bad return. If you missed 10 best days for that stock market, the return is only 2.18% per year.
Yeah.
Only need to miss 10 best days over 20 years. And then if you miss the 60 best days, only 60 days, okay, the return is negative 7.67%. So I just want to show people this data and say, you know what? The better way to do is not to time the market. Instead, have a proper asset allocation that you either work on your own or work with a CFP professional to show you how to combine different type of stocks and bonds globally that would fit your own risk profile and your own time horizon so that you're not taking too much risk or too conservative. And then once you have a strategy in place, you need to stay invested because that is major lesson for many people. People lose big time is because during this kind of market crash we have seen during recession, when people pull the money out of the stock market after decline, and then they get back in after the recovery, they are constantly buying high and selling low. So I just want people to know that even professionals can make foolish mistakes. If individual investors, I want them to learn and say, do a better cash flow planning so that they don't have to sell the stock portfolio after is down 30 or 40%. And in fact, look at it as a buying opportunity for your future savings. Because when I'm speaking to younger people and I say, it's not a bad thing for you, because if you are saving $1,000 per month to put that towards your future, portfolio, when it's down 30%, it's on sale. It's 30% off on sale. The same $1,000 per month can buy you more stocks. So I think people do need to have that financial planning in place and understand their own risk profile and know that what type of risk they can afford taking and be prepared for the market downturn so they don't panic. And they can remind themselves and say, markets are going to do this. You don't control the market, but you control your own emotions and you control your own decisions. So that's what I think what I do daily to help clients to be better investors is to understand their situation, knowing their goals, and construct a portfolio that fit their situation so they can create, I can help them create more positive investing experience.
Thank you, Echo. That's been amazing. So many insights. Tell me this, Echo, for anyone who's listening to this today, what's the kind of one aha? They're listening to this, they're inspired from what you're sharing. They want to get invested in the market. They want to sort out their money stuff. What's that kind of one thing you want to leave them with?
I want to give these tips to women, and maybe because I am, I'm the minority in financial services industry as a wealth manager, and I want people, especially women, do not overlook their physical health. And health is a valuable asset in your financial strategy. And women who invest in maintaining healthy lifestyles can enjoy better health with lower medical expenses for decades. So in other words, health and wealth go together, and investing in the former is as important as investing in the latter. So it's kind of interesting. It's not exactly talking about investing, but I want people to think about financial planning. It's not just about the investment account value. It's about how you could utilize your resources to maximize return in life. So I want people to take this as a tip and say, start paying attention to your health. It's extremely important right now, but knowing that will make a big difference in your long-term financial picture as well.
Echo, I love that you shared about health, because there's a really big saying by the Dalai Lama, I think it is, and you've just said it there now. A lot of people concentrate on the money and they forget about their health and everything else, and then they end up, their health costs them, and then they can't enjoy the money. So I think mentioning health is huge. It's such a big part of it.
Absolutely. I personally exercise every single day, and I pay attention to diet, and I truly believe that right now the time I'm investing in my health is well worth it, especially I think when I'm in my 70s and 80s.
Wow. Echo, you have a book you were saying, and how does somebody get in contact with you?
Yeah, I would love you visit my website. It's called ownyourfuture.guru. So Own Your Future is the title of my book. .guru, G-U-R-U. I would like to be financial guru for many people out there, even though I cannot serve them as their financial advisor. And so you can connect with me on this website through social media. And I also have a blog that you can read. I think for a lot of people, they just need to get educated and inspired to take action. So I really hope that people will check that out and buy the book from Amazon and start taking action to own their future.
Thank you, Echo. Thank you for being here. This has been really valuable.
I am so happy about this opportunity. Thank you very much, Lorna.
Hey, everyone. Remember to join us in the Private Financial Freedom Podcast Facebook group with me, your host, Lorna Poole. This is a safe haven of like-minded wealth-getting go-getters who, like you, are on their journey to creating financial freedom in their life. This is where you and I can get intimate. I can give you the support and guidance to go from where you are now to where you want to be, developing your wealth mindset and creating your financial freedom life. Join at www.facebook.com/groups The Financial Freedom Podcast. You will see the links to this on the website. It's in the show notes, or type it into the Facebook group. All you have to type in is Financial Freedom Podcast and you will see us there. Look forward to seeing you in the group. Take care. Thank you for joining us on the Financial Freedom Podcast, to creating wealth, investing, and developing your money mindset. To get started today on your journey, head on over to www.lornapoole.com and grab your free course, 5 Steps to Breaking Free from Your Poverty Mindset and Accelerating Your Journey to Financial Freedom. See you there.